Hello and happy outside on this beautiful Friday, everybody. Here's what's coming up on News Center now. Atlantic Standard Time. It could be coming to Maine. There are some details to be worked out. We will look into what that could mean.
Plus, the Portland Jetport could be changing some flight patterns, and that has some people a little bit upset.
There was a giant music festival in the Bahamas that people were super fired up about, and it went terribly wrong.
This is News Center now.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to News Center now on this beautiful day. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I am Amanda Hill. You may have to not exactly remember to spring forward or fall behind anymore when it comes to your clock.
Yeah,
that's kind of exciting news.
Math is hard. A bill
really
passed by the Maine House would put Maine on Atlantic Standard Time year-round. Now, it still has ways to go. It's got to pass a vote in the Senate, but of course this is politics, so it's not as simple as just that.
Massachusetts and New Hampshire would also have to enact the law in order for it to pass here. The New Hampshire House already approved the switch, and a commission in Massachusetts is studying the issue. If all three states do switch over, U.S. Department of Transportation would still have to approve it. Right now, Maine is one of 17 states that uses Eastern Standard Time during the winter and Eastern Daylight Time during the summer. Switching to Atlantic Standard Time means in December, the sun would rise around 8 a.m. and set around 5 p.m. For some perspective, the earliest sunset this winter was at 4:04 p.m.
Now, by the way, the bill is sponsored by both Democrats and Republicans, and one of the main points of the bill's sponsor is that there are health benefits in keeping the clocks the same year-round, specifically that it's more natural for our sleep patterns to just stay on the same cycle.
Right. So, Marty, you spoke with a psychologist today, and what did he have to say about this?
Well, that makes sense, right? That if we're kind of on the same thing, because light is so important. I talked to Dr. Jeffrey Barkin. He said the single most important stimulus to mammals is light. Okay, so that regulates a lot of our systems, our brain, our hormones. Light wakes up our brains. Now, he treats a lot of folks who have depression. In the winter, that depression can get worse because there is less light. He says, interestingly, this time change would actually not be great for those folks because morning light is more important than afternoon light, which is something I didn't know until I spoke with him. But also what he said is that can be treated, okay? There's light boxes, there's light therapy, so those folks can be treated with light therapy. For the vast majority of people, he sees this time switch as not having a really big impact health-wise either way, but a lot of people do like the idea of having an extra hour of sunlight in the afternoon, especially in the winter.
Well, and just that medical perspective is something that you don't usually think about. So it's like, well, I either sleep later or I sleep earlier or I have to come home earlier, but the medical part of it is a side that we haven't really looked a lot into, so that's interesting.
Right. Well, it certainly has been a hot button issue whenever it comes up, and as usual, a lot of you had a lot to say about this. Melissa says that would work as long as all of New England does it too, as I work out of state. Again, the bill will only pass if Massachusetts and New Hampshire get on board as well.
Joseph, not a fan. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Why change after all these years? It will still be dark at 5 in December. This is a stupid idea. Victoria, though, likes the idea, says she's a mom and she hates messing up her kids' sleep schedules twice a year because it's a pain. I definitely agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I get that. Sarah made a point that we saw a lot of you making. She says there are more important issues to worry about, like climate change, the threat of war, school funding, the drug epidemic, than changing the time. Leave the time alone and focus on more important issues.
Okay, it's sunny, kind of. It's warmer, kind of.
So
and
Jess
is here.
Hey, it's nice out here. It's very nice. We had a pretty good day today, especially for southern and central Maine, far northern and down east Maine. Saw those temperatures a little bit cooler. Our highs today in Portland made it up to, or our high today in Portland made it to 66, 75. The high today in Lewiston, 69 for Bangor. Calais, though, had those clouds around for most of the day, only able to make it up to 52. But look at Concord, 83 for a high. Same for Sanford and Portsmouth. Right now, the temperatures aren't too shabby. 64 in Portland it is nice to be outside. A pretty big temperature change from this same time yesterday, especially for southern Maine and into New Hampshire, about 10 to 15 degrees warmer. In fact, we had a cold front go through and that brought us some clouds and some showers early this morning. Skies clearing out now, though, for the most part. A couple thunderstorms actually right now in the Calais area, but behind that we'll see fairly clear skies for the rest of the evening. A few clouds possible for tomorrow and into the day on Sunday too. We'll talk about all of that coming up in just a little bit, guys.
All right, Jess, thank you very much.
Thanks.
It is about to get a lot noisier in some of the most densely populated communities in southern Maine because of a temporary change at the Portland Jetport.
Speaking of keeping kids awake, for 3 weeks beginning on May 15th, planes will fly in and out of the Jetport in the opposite direction of which they usually go. So that means for those 3 weeks, people in Portland, South Portland, Cape Elizabeth, Scarborough are probably going to hear a lot more planes. So we sent Chris to the airport to figure out what it's all about. Hey, Chris.
Hey guys, yeah, the Jetport is actually reconstructing an area right near the runway. It's called an apron. They're going to change the material there from asphalt to concrete. Why? It's so they can actually handle heavier and larger aircraft. But it's in this spot that's going to really majorly affect airport operations. This neighborhood is normally quiet.
Are you going to go down the slide?
No.
No, you're just going to hang out here?
Nancy Lupian and her grandson Bentley occasionally hear planes flying overhead.
There's a couple of seconds of, you know, we can hear it. It's going past, but nothing too major.
That's about to change.
It's in the name of safety. We have to reverse our flight patterns. The only way to get airplanes to our noise preferred runway would be to do something called back taxiing, where we send them the opposite direction on the runway. And that's just not within our safety protocols for this project.
Nearly 45 flights take off between 5:30 and 7 a.m. and another 25 come in between 10 p.m. and 12:30 in the morning.
We certainly understand that we'll be impacting many neighbors that don't normally have airplanes flying over them at these hours.
If you go and walk in the grass, you're going to get wet.
Neighbors like Nancy say they'll put up with the temporary noise.
We are up at 5, so that's not going to be bad. I don't know about the 10 o'clock at night one, but we'll see.
So why are they doing this? The Jetport says since 2008, passenger traffic at the Jetport has continued to increase. At the same time, the number of flights flying in and out of the Portland Jetport has decreased by 30% since 2008. Why? Because airplanes are actually getting bigger and actually able to accommodate more passengers. So that's why they need to redo the apron so that it can handle those bigger and heavier planes. Now, the Portland Jetport also has a noise advisory committee. As this plane takes off over my shoulder, they have a noise advisory committee. So if you want to send in a complaint, you can go to the website, portlandjetport.com/noise. All those complaints actually get reported to the FAA. And keep in mind, if you do live in one of these communities, Portland, South Portland, Scarborough, or Cape Elizabeth, this is only temporary, about 3 weeks from May 15 to June 6. So a little bit of a headache for a little bit of time, but it's all for a good reason. Back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you very much, sir. One person is dead after an explosion at a meth lab. Adrian Stein here with more news now. The Maine Drug Enforcement Agency arrested 4 others after that explosion in Old Town. They say a couple who rented the apartment and 2 others are now charged with operating a meth lab. Investigators believe the 5th person had severe burns and died running away from the scene. Maine is ending its years of resistance to a federal Real ID program that legislators once warned would infringe on individual liberties. Today, Governor LePage signed a law that brings Maine into federal compliance. Maine was one of just 4 states that the federal government said didn't comply with increased security standards for ID cards created in the wake of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Former President George H.W. Bush is now out of the hospital. Doctors were treating him for a mild case of pneumonia and chronic bronchitis. The 92-year-old was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. He is set to return to his summer home in Maine in mid-May. Of course, we'll all be watching that. We want to tell you about this great story we're working on for News Center Now coming up on Monday. There is a woman in Maine that has a direct connection to some real Hollywood royalty.
Little sleep sack. Can be for the baby, and this little kind of just, you know, if you wanted to give a really sweet gift.
All right, well, Carol Smith is the Camden woman behind one of the most luxurious baby bedding brands in the entire world. It's Lulla Smith. She's not just working for Hollywood royalty, by the way. J-Lo and Britney Spears are among her clients. She also makes the bedding for actual princes and princesses. It happens in the attic of her home, and it started when she was in her 50s and after a divorce.
You know, it just needed to be something that was mine, and I could control it. If and when there's ever another wonderful relationship, well, that's great. That's the frosting on the cake. But what I really love is what I do. Sleep sack.
On Monday, how Smith got her start, the best advice she has for anyone who may be thinking of taking a leap of faith, and how she has had to reinvent her business over the last 20 years. Again, that is coming up on Monday. She is such a neat woman, I'm telling you what.
That is such a great story.
Yeah,
I can't wait
until
till Monday. I'm not trying to wish the weekend away.
No, don't. It's supposed to be a really nice weekend, too.
Okay.
But Monday, there's something to look forward to on Monday.
All right, thanks, Adrian. Hey, people started flying in for a brand new elite music festival yesterday, but those that made it there realized it wasn't quite what they expected, so we are going to explain what happened.
And as the summer weather approaches, Maine's outdoor concert venues are gearing up for what could be their busiest season ever. That story, when now, continues.
A luxurious music festival tucked away in the Bahamas is now being compared to the Hunger Games. Hey everybody, I'm Katie Ortiz here with your social stop. The highly anticipated Fire Festival, which rapper Ja Rule helped organize, was the hottest ticket aimed at rich millennials. What was supposed to be 2 weekends of yachts, supermodels, and an unbeatable musical lineup turned into a free-for-all with people stranded on the island. Fire Festival is at a halt, and its demise is out online. Festival goers arrived on the island to this: no direction, no organization, just complete chaos. The flights were included with some of the ticket packages, so the luggage from those flights were apparently unloaded out of a shipping container in the dark. And this concierge doesn't look like they could be of any help. You can see everything that has yet to be unpacked or distributed in the background. And the luxurious geodesic domes that festival goers were promised for lodging turned out to be just tents. And there was also supposed to be a, quote, culinary experience for the food packages. Well, if the culinary experiences was 2 slices of bread, some cheese, and a small salad, that's exactly what they got. Now, many, of course, are trying to leave the Fire Fest disaster and have flocked to the airport, but officials there reportedly locked people inside while they waited, and others who flew in or tried to fly out were stranded on the tarmac for hours. Now, Fire Festival was heavily promoted by influencers, including models Bella Hadid and Kendall Jenner. And in recent weeks leading up to the festival, there was a lot of speculation that organizers were in way over their heads, but they reportedly assured everyone that they were ready. Tonight, they offer only this statement on their website: due to circumstances out of our control, physical infrastructure was not in place on time. And they go on to say they're working to get everyone back to Miami on complimentary charters, and that the festival is postponed until, quote, we can further assess if and when we are able to create the high quality experience we envision. Now, the most fascinating part of this, you guys, is that the people online can't really help but laugh, because this festival was basically for rich people, but we have to remember that the lack of food, water, and security that's going on down there is not good.
No, nothing seems good in that whole situation.
No, you know, this is why I avoid festivals, because, you know, hey, let's go party in a field.
Just saying.
We do that in Maine.
I'm good.
Know?
So we're going to have our own party festival, because we've got sunshine in the forecast, and we are going outside with Jess to get the details. Let's get outside.
Hey, I know what you're doing this weekend, because you already told me. You're doing some spring cleaning.
Spring chucking.
I think a lot of people are with you, but you may want to hear this first. Chances are you've heard about dust mites, but do you know what they actually are? They're actually tiny bugs that live in dust.
That's gross. They're really too small to see, obviously, but they can still cause a huge nuisance for people who have allergies like me. So they're the #1 cause of indoor allergies. And where do they like to hide? What's the best way to get rid of them? Jeff Rawson, better than me. Go find out.
It's everywhere, from your counters to your floors. Dust in nooks and crannies all over the home. And living in that dust, dust mites, microscopic bugs that can multiply fast and make you sick.
Dust mites are one of the biggest predators that live in your home. They feed off your dead skin. And this in itself are the foundation where which bacteria flourish.
What are the dangers of dust mites?
One of the big issues is it can trigger an asthma attack.
So where are the most common spots for dust mites, and how can you get rid of them?
Oh, barrier cover.
To find out, I invite healthy home expert Lisa Barris over to my place.
So the average home collects 40 pounds of dust every year.
40 pounds of dust?
Yes, and this dust is laced with dangerous toxins.
All right, so you brought me into my daughter's room. Obviously, this is not my room.
Right.
Let's hope not. What's the problem?
The problem is all of this clutter. It's actually collecting dust. All of these toys, this is where dust mites thrive. Look right there, we've got some. Your daughter needs to find out her favorite toys and donate or sell the rest.
Not the Beanie Boos.
I know, they're
not
so
the Beanie Boos.
cute.
She'll kill me.
But a great fun tip she can do is put each toy in the freezer for 24 hours and it will kill the dust mites.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
But it's not just dust mites lurking in there. A recent study by George Washington University finding over 45 toxic chemicals commonly found in household dust. Chemicals linked to respiratory, behavioral, and neurodevelopment problems. And we're breathing it in every day.
One of the most prevalent areas that dust mites love to thrive is your mattress and pillows.
Love that.
In fact, I just took an air sample of your home, and the results were staggering. I checked the microns of particles in the air, and the result is almost 2 million.
What does that mean?
That means you have really dirty air.
2 million bad. Okay,
No.
got it. So what am I supposed to do?
Okay, well, a simple thing you can do is get an allergen barrier cover like this and put it over your pillows and your mattresses.
So this will keep the dust mites out.
Yes, this tight weave will keep the dust mites and allergens out. It'll tell you right on the bag what it is and how to use it. It's so simple.
But the biggest buildup of dust? Air vents. And she says mine are terrible.
So how do I fix this?
It's so simple. Just use a vacuum or a dust buster.
Okay.
And you've got high ceilings, so you're going to need to go up this ladder.
All right. And just suck it out?
And literally, yep, just vacuum it up.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
That's it. Just do that every time you do routine cleaning, and you'll keep your air fresh.
Spring cleaning tips to keep your home healthy and the dust mites out.
All right, we moved.
We
love this.
somehow got from there to here, so that was pretty cool.
If you were joining us on Facebook, you saw the whole experience coming out here. But here we are. Here's Jess.
Hi.
And it's beautiful.
It is. It's so nice out. Weekend is looking pretty good too, which is good, right? After these past couple of kind of awful days.
Okay, before we get to your weather, can we just get to something that might be more important to weather? No offense.
I don't know if there
that's
is.
meat on the grill. Oh no, actually we've got the weather first. So
Sorry, guess it looks like
you win.
oh,
No,
wait,
you
there
win.
we go.
You win.
Nope, you win. Back to you.
Well, see, our producer likes food more than weather, so
I don't
I
blame
just
you.
trumped you and I just
That's
took over.
fine.
So
We'll get to the weather.
There's a little Chef Boyardee action going on right now. I was told to never say that, but I'm actually allowed to now because I just did. So this
Weather's
is,
up now.
This
All
is,
right.
If you want to stop by the station right now,
We're done with you.
let me know how you like your burger. I got you.
Okay, we're moving on from you.
All right, my turn. Look at these temperatures. It's awesome out. 69 right now in Bangor, 64 in Portland, still 75 in Sanford. It's gorgeous. Look at Concord, 82 there right now. It is pretty lovely. Good news is that the temperatures stick around for much of tomorrow. We'll look at that in just a minute. Current wind speeds right now, not too bad. A little bit breezy out here, but not bad. It looks like we'll see some wind though for tomorrow afternoon and evening. All right, so here's a look at the satellite radar. We have plenty of sun in the Portland area, southern Maine, central Maine looking pretty good. Some rain showers though have been sticking around down East Maine, but right now things are starting to clear out. Maybe a couple rain showers early tomorrow, so let's go through that hour by hour forecast. Tonight, mostly clear skies, should be pretty nice if you're headed out and about at all. It should be pretty good. Tomorrow morning, a couple showers, though possible, moving through the area fairly early before about lunchtime tomorrow afternoon. And then as we go through the rest of the afternoon tomorrow, we'll see things clear out again. And check out those temps. Upper 60s, lower 70s for most of us. Rockland, Bar Harbor, you know the deal for you. It's going to be a little bit cooler as we get into the day. On Sunday, though, temperatures much cooler behind a cold front. We'll start out the day with temperatures in the 40s. We'll warm up only into the mid to upper 50s for the day on Sunday. So highs tomorrow looking good. Most of us in the mid to upper 70s. Some high temperatures closer to the down east coast, only in the mid 60s. Here's your marine forecast for tomorrow. Seas 3 to 5 feet, mostly sunny skies, getting smoked up by the grill over here. Southwest winds 5 to 10 knots, and here's the extended forecast for you. Look at the weekend. Awesome, especially for the day on Saturday. Tomorrow looking good despite just a couple rain showers early. If you're headed out to the farmer's market tomorrow, bring the umbrella with you. You'll need it. Pretty nice though for the day on Sunday. Lots of rain and much cooler for Monday. Back into that kind of awful pattern that we've had for Monday. I know, I hate it. Tuesday will clear up again, then we'll see some sunshine for the rest of the week. But overall, weekend looking pretty good, I think. Nice Saturday. Okay, pretty nice still.
We'll take that weekend. We'll take this burger too.
Yeah.
First burger.
Just feed it to me.
Ready to go.
Feed it to them.
All right. Hey, there's a lot more news coming up at 5:30. Cindy?
Hi guys, here's what we're working on for the next half hour. Find out why hundreds of at-risk students may have to do without a program that helps them get into college because of a spacing error on their application. We'll show you what that's about. Maine lawmakers are hoping to make some progress on the opioid epidemic in Maine by helping those struggling with addiction who don't have health insurance. Find out what's happening in Augusta. Also ahead, go ahead, right on it. A woman has decided to turn her car into a mobile message board. We'll check it out. Those stories and much more ahead at 5:30. We're going to take a break and be back right after this.
All right, with summertime right around the corner, that means one thing that's special to people who love to go outside, and that's the entertainment venues. They'll be gearing up for their concert series. Lots of people heading outside to check out their favorite music this summer.
It's amazing. Maine's really just become this hot spot for concerts. You know, a lot of them already selling out. At the Waterfront Pavilion in Bangor, the staff spends the entire winter working on booking the summer schedule.
Yeah, the same true for the Maine State Pier and Thompson's Point's outdoor venues. Each of the last few years, the number of concerts offered has gone up, the number of fans attending has gone up, and the organizers say it's a great way for the top acts in the country to learn a little something about the Pine Tree State.
Last year, Darius Rucker, his whole crew spent a week, I believe, in like the Sebago Lakes region, just because they were coming to Maine, so they wanted to experience it. And, you know, getting that word out there that it's not four walls and a ceiling, and, you know, it's summer season and there's some touristy stuff to do. You know, come on up, make it a vacation. It might not be the biggest, you know, it might not be 50,000 tickets at Gillette, but, you know, it's something worth checking out.
Lots of music to look forward to, and lots of food to look forward to. I hope you guys get a chance to get outside and grill today too, because we're taking advantage of Lee here.
Just saying, Chef Boy Lee works for cheap. So come on by, I'll throw a hamburger right off the deck into you.
If your kids don't get here first.
Oh no, my kids can't eat this stuff.
Wait, so how are you cooking these? Because
this is an actual grill secret. I'm going over here where my mic works.
Oh.
There's skill and technique and like temperature you got to worry about. It's got to be, you got to take your time and let it cook properly. You don't want to burn the heck out of it and then make it a hockey puck.
That's fair.
I gotta go. This is busy.
We're here on that burger.
Strategy.
Yeah, serious strategy. Listen, I hope you guys get a chance to get outside, enjoy the weekend. News Center at 5:30 starts right now.
See ya.